Hey, it is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to our current students, to our previous students, as well as our future students to help you mastermind, to not just change your business and take your business to the next level, but change your life and take your life to the next level. And we're talking today about taking that jump, whether this is a small decision or a large decision, a life-altering major decision that maybe you've been weighing the pros and cons on, that you've been thinking about and mulling around for days or months or even years, thinking about making this decision. We're here to tell you today to make that decision, and we're going to help you do that in today's episode of State of Real Estate. We've got a great show for you. I'm excited to bring it to you. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We do the show every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you mastermind and grow your real estate business and overall change your life. The show is for our current students, our past students, as well as our future students. Don't worry if you're not enrolled in a course with us yet. Anyone can watch these videos. Feel free to share with your friends and family if you believe they'll be able to benefit from them. And if you like today's episode, make sure you check out tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success. That's our success center. This is where we help you plan for your success in the real estate industry. So definitely check that out after the show. You'll be able to find the full recording of today's show on our success center. But let's start off. Imagine that you're staring down the edge of a cliff and you're looking over and you can't even see the ground. You're just staring over into the abyss. And you look over and you're almost terrified to get close to the edge because you're worried of falling and you're worried of it all ending. But then you look and you see a bridge. Now this isn't a steel cable bridge or concrete or anything. You see a rickety wooden bridge across this ravine, across this bottomless pit. And you see this bridge and you're thinking, should I cross this bridge? I should probably just stay here. That bridge doesn't look safe. If something happens with that bridge, I'm going to fall into this bottomless ravine and it'll be the end of the world. Everything will be over. But if you approach your decisions that way and just focus on the bridge and you don't focus on what's on the other side of the bridge, you'll never cross the bridge. There was a movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he's the tightrope walker. I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but where he's a tightrope walker, and he walked on a tightrope across the World Trade Center. It's based on a true story. And he played the character very well, or at least what seems to be very well. Who knows if what this guy was actually like. But the one rule of tightrope walking was to never look down. Always stay focused on going across. And this is the way you need to approach every decision in your life. Anytime you see something where there's some sort of risk, where there's some sort of risk-reward scenario, if you focus on the risk, you're focusing at the ravine. You're focusing on the endless cliff, the bottomless pit, which that's not where you want to be. If that's where you focus, that's where you'll end up. But if you focus on getting across, who knows, you might not even need that bridge. Maybe you're able to simply jump across that ravine. Maybe it's not even that far. Maybe you're just able to step over, and that's what it's like sometimes with some of these minor decisions, these minuscule decisions that have very little impact either way, but that ultimately create what's called decision inertia. So the concept of inertia is, you might remember this from maybe physics classes or maybe hearing this somewhere along the lines, an object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. So would you rather stay at rest or would you rather remain in motion? Well, if we're talking about growing your business, resting on your laurels, staying at that plateau, staying at that same point for an extended period of time makes you vulnerable. It makes you not able to adapt to a changing market. It makes it where you're putting yourself at an even greater risk for staying in the spot it is that you're staying. So this is the equivalent, going back to our anecdote here about this ravine, of you're standing here pondering how and why and if you should cross this ravine, but meanwhile, the ground's about to give out from underneath you. And you might not know that the ground's about to fall out from underneath you. But sitting in that same spot, staying in that same spot without the growth, without the movement, without pushing yourself forward, opens you up to that risk as well. So by not making a decision, you're losing that opportunity cost of if you did take that chance, if you did take that risk, if you did take that jump, what could you have gained and what are you missing out by staying in that same space? Now, going back to decision inertia. Again, an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest. So while it may seem like it doesn't matter let's take something as simple as thinking of, okay, what am I going to have for lunch? And saying, oh, I could do this or I could do that. Look, if you don't make a decision on what you're going to eat, you're going to starve yourself to death eventually. Which obviously that's not going to happen. Eventually you're going to make a decision. And if you have little inertia of making decisions, then you'll just make the decision. Okay, I want this. This is what I'm having. Next. And you hear all kinds of stories of great minds such as Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg's famous for wearing the same clothes every day. Founder of Facebook, one of the largest companies in the world that's completely revolutionized the way the internet is used. Had it not been for Facebook and Facebook live streams and also YouTube live streams and this whole kind of live streaming platform that evolved, you wouldn't be listening to me speak here today. And we've got Mark Zuckerberg, thanks for that. And this is a little extreme. I mean, granted, you see me, I'm usually wearing different clothes when you see me on the shows here, but Mark Zuckerberg actually wears the same thing every day to remove that decision inertia because he doesn't want to get hung up thinking about the clothes because it starts to snowball. It starts to build up. It's just a small decision, but if you think about that decision for too long, now maybe a next decision that is a bigger decision that might be a decision that you would be able to make quickly, normally, but because maybe you thought about what you're going to wear today so much that thinking about this more important decision, this decision about maybe whether or not to call a lead, whether or not to take advantage of some opportunity that presents itself, where you know that there's little risk and that you should take this opportunity, but you might stop and wait and think about this because your mind is telling you, hey, look, it took all this time to figure out what clothes it is that you're wearing today. Why should you make this decision that involves maybe more potential risk? Why should you make that so quickly? Why should you make that so abruptly? So you want to constantly be making decisions. Now, going back to the clothes it is that you're wearing, look, tomorrow you get to pick another wear of clothes. The next day, another set of clothes. The next day, another set of clothes. So you're not committing to a lifelong decision with these minor decisions. Calling a client, calling a lead, calling a potential, picking up that phone, that takes a decision. To actually pick up that phone, dial the number, and hit send, that's a decision it is that you're making. And there's so many points of even just picking up that phone, even just taking it out of your hand, and even once you've got it in your hand, you've got to make the decision to ignore any notifications it is that you have that are going to try to pull you in a different direction, and then you've got to get into the phone and dial the number, and then you're staring at that send button. And this might just be a very simple call. Maybe you don't even talk to the person. Maybe you just end up going to their voicemail. But you're sitting there acting like your life depends on the outcome of this call. And now it sounds silly when I say that your life depends on the outcome of this call because you know it doesn't. You know, even if this person that you pick up the phone, that they tear you a new one for calling them, there's another person you could call. And chances are if you got that that bad call out of the way up front, the probability says that the rest of your calls the rest of the day are probably going to be phenomenal. Maybe not so good, and maybe if you have a string of bad calls, that's where you have to make a decision and now train yourself and practice making these calls a little bit more. But you want to be making decisions. Because look, you make that call, you pick up the phone, you make the call that you've been dreading, that you've been putting off, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, this wasn't going how it was. Look, very easy to correct that. Decisions that are very easy to correct are decisions that shouldn't take long to make. That you should be able to make that jump into making a call, and we'll talk about bigger jumps and bigger leaps. But you've got to start out with the small so it snowballs in to these larger decisions. And picking up that phone, making the call, and realizing it's not going to be the end of the world, that's going to give you a boost of confidence. And the next time you go to pick up that phone, you become even more confident and even more confident. Now, it gets a little rough when you do pick up a phone, and it doesn't always go as planned, and it's not as pleasant as you thought. But look, that's just one call. And you've got other calls to be made. If you only have one call to be made, you're not doing enough business. You want to have a large enough pipeline to, if you lose a lead, if you lose half of your leads, that you're still able to survive. And not just survive, but thrive. So you have to take more actions. And the root of taking an action is deciding to take that action. So that word decision, it comes from the Latin root of caedere. And caedere means to cut. And the reason why decision, and that's when you listen to that word decision, it sounds like incision, meaning to cut. And the reason why that root caedere is part of decision, it means you've cut yourself away from any other options. You're picking up that phone and you're making that call, whatever happens. When you've committed and you've decided for that call to be made, that's where you're focusing across the bridge. That's where you're focusing on the horizon. You're not looking down staring into the abyss. Because if you look down staring into the abyss, that's you with your phone, sitting at your phone, and you're looking, oh geez, all right, I'll make the call. Maybe they'll say this and then I'll say this. Or, maybe they'll say this and then I'll say this. None of this is getting the call made. And chances are, all this thoughts, all this that you're thinking about this phone call, look, unless you're a mind reader, which you're probably not, you get a little bit of skills at this and become more experienced and you start to get an idea of what it is that's expected. But if you're dreading making the call this much, the reason why is because you have no idea what it is that they're going to say. You have no idea what the outcome is going to be. But and deep down, and this sometimes takes a little bit of soul searching, that you need to make that phone call. And even if it goes bad, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're not falling down into the bottomless pit. You're just basically, okay, that didn't work, let's try again. Let's try a different bridge. And that's really what you have when you have multiple options. When you have multiple clients or multiple leads to call on, if you take a step on one of the bridges and that bridge starts to crumble and starts to collapse, you could go get on one of these other bridges and find a bridge that's strong, that's going to carry you to where it is that you want to go. But if you focus on just staring at this bridge and trying to determine, well, will this bridge get me across this ravine? You won't know until you find out. And the good news is, when you're making calls or minor decisions like this, where there's very little risk, there's very little to lose, it's not that maybe you're falling down a bottomless pit, you just fall maybe 2 or 3 feet and you're like, oh, all right, well, let me get back up here and try this other bridge to get across. That's all it is. So you have to understand that, again, not focusing on whether or not I should make this call, but just making the call, getting yourself, trying to get across. And look, if you find out during that time that, okay, well, this bridge here is a little rickety, that feels like it's going to fall apart, I feel like it's going to collapse, and you can't save it, go back and now you make another call and you try to make something out of that. So the moral of the story here for this kind of allegory of the ravine is, don't focus on the abyss. Focus on the horizon. Focus on what that outcome is of making this decision, of taking this action. Because if you focus on the abyss, you're just focusing on the risk. If you focus on the abyss, you're focusing on the risk. I should be like a rapper or something. You can't focus on what that worst case scenario can be. It's good to know, oh, look, yeah, there's this down here where I could fall. Let's not do that. Let's just get across here. But sometimes, especially when the fall isn't that drastic, when it's not killing you, when it's the phone call, they just hang up on you, just make another phone call. Everyone's got unlimited minutes now. It's not even like you're wasting your minutes of calling. And if you don't have unlimited minutes, go get unlimited minutes. If you're in a business where you need to make calls, that should not be a limitation on your call. You should not have any limitations. Yeah, you've got your time, which isn't refundable, but you won't know whether or not that lead turns out. You won't know whether that bridge will get you across. You don't know whether that lead's going to actually pan out until you try, until you attempt to go across that ravine. So don't focus on the abyss, don't focus on the risk, focus on the reward, focus on that end goal, keep your eye on the prize. There's so many expressions that have been used over time to state exactly what I'm explaining here. Focus on getting yourself across, and that's going to be your outcome. If you remain focused on that, you might trip a little, you might fall a little along the way, but again, another expression, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. As you're moving your way across and as you continue to move forward towards that goal, those scrapes, those bruises, those scars it is that you acquire moving towards that goal are ultimately going to make you stronger and better prepared. So don't focus on the risk, focus on the reward. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're talking more about taking the leap, taking that leap of faith, taking that jump. So stick with us. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Carissimo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Carissimo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind, to grow, to transition, to take that jump, to take your business to the next level, and overall take your life to the next level. Because if you're able to grow your business, your life will be able to grow in turn. And you're able to live a more prosperous life. So this is what we do every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. All the previous episodes you can find at tampaschool.com/success. And if you're looking to start or enhance your real estate career, find out about real estate, make sure you check out tampaschool.com/success. Or just go on our website. You can find out how to get your real estate license, what you have to do to renew your real estate license, or even just give us a call. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that they can. The phone number is 813-928-0106. And you'll see that all floating right at the bottom of the screen below my pretty face here. So let's get back to today's episode. Today's topic, we're talking about taking the jump. And you know, we chose this title because it sounds provocative. Taking the jump. It's somebody leaping off of a building, leaping off of a bridge. And that's what it could feel like sometimes when you're faced with a decision that is a life-changing decision. Now, what we were talking about in the first segment here was getting that decision inertia out of you. making sure that are really building up, because the inertia, I believe, I'm not a physicist, but I believe it does go either way, where it could be inertia moving and inertia staying still. I think both of those are called inertia. Don't quote me on that. Again, not a physicist. So these small decisions, they add up. There's another book called The Slight Edge, and this is a book that's all about basically that decision inertia. I don't think they use that word in there, otherwise I'd probably be able to speak to that inertia word better. But it speaks on getting that slight edge by making decisions, doing little things, taking little actions that start to add up to larger actions. Waiting will kill you. Waiting to do something, waiting for anything, the opportunity may pass you by. It may kill you. It may kill your business. Again, when we talked about growing your business, if you're constantly growing your business, you're constantly fending off changing markets, new technologies, things that can have an impact on your business if you're not constantly growing. Because if you are constantly growing, you'll hit these little hiccups and you might have a couple little bumps along the way, but you continue progressing up. It's when you start to do this and you start to plateau that you get hit by some change in the market, changing technology, some sort of change that affects your business. And that's where you're like, whoa, what's going on here? And your business starts to drop out from underneath itself. And you see this even happen with major Fortune 500 companies. I mean, just go on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones or any of these stock markets and look at these major companies that are failing. And I guarantee you're going to find one least common denominator among companies that have, there's something that called going concern value. And going concern value has to do with companies that have an established operating history, that have a good track record. But now going concern value is faced with, okay, is this business going to continue going at the rate it has been? Are they going to continue growing, or have they plateaued? And if there's a change in the market, change in consumer taste and preferences, are they going to start to drop off? And you see that with these major companies. And they become out of touch. They become comfortable. They begin to rest on their laurels. They begin to say, oh, things are doing good here. Let's just keep doing what we're doing here. And, we've got a good system. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I hate that term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That phrase. Because it's not that we're fixing something. You might not need to fix something, but you could always make something better. There's always more. There's always ways to improve. There's always ways to grow. And that's the main theme of what we do every Friday here on State of Real Estate, is this constant growth, this constant acceleration, this constant upward trajectory. And to maintain this constant upward trajectory, because when these companies or with realtors, with their business, maybe they've been operating for a few years. And, one of the big, it seems like a distant memory now, but back in 2006, 2007, 2008, where there was massive upheaval and massive changes in the real estate market, a lot of real estate professionals left the real estate industry. And the reason why was because the getting was good. It was easy to go out there and close a deal. The lender would loan money to anyone. The houses were selling for astronomical prices, and you were making major commissions. Anyone with a pulse could sell a house. And when that's all you need is to just have a license and to be a living, breathing person that is qualified to handle the transaction legally, that becomes pretty comfortable when that's all it is that you need. But what you need to be constantly focusing on, even when business may seem good, even when it may seem that things are going smoothly, is you don't want to rest on your laurels. You don't want to say, well, let's just wait. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see, okay, these next couple of months, let's just keep doing what we're doing here because we know this works. And then next year we'll focus on ramping up a little bit, or in a few years, maybe if the market downturns, then we'll maybe try to grow. Look, if you're not constantly growing, if there's a change in the market, if there's a change in technology, if there's more competition, if there's so many different things that could be basically a tax on your business or your life for that matter. A lot of these same concepts apply to your life. And if you're not constantly growing and improving, you're dying. And you've heard that maybe phrase before as well. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that sounds morbid. It sounds ugly. It sounds not like something that you want to think about. You don't want to think about dying. Well, you're not thinking about it. You're doing it. If your business is plateauing, that's where you're just waiting for the ground underneath you to fall out from underneath you. I mean, sinkholes, they're a thing in Florida, in certain areas in Florida, the sinkholes. You would never think the ground would literally come out from underneath you unless you know that, okay, maybe this is a sinkhole area that we can kind of predict for. But in your business, you might not think that my business could collapse. You might say, I've been running smoothly. I've been going for 20 years, 27 years, 30 years, 40 years. But if you've hit that plateau, that's where you become vulnerable. That's where there'll be new competition, new technology, changes in the market, changes in consumer taste and preferences. These changes that are going to chip away at that armor it is that you've established. And again, that goes back to that going concern value. You do not want to rest on your laurels. You need to constantly be growing and constantly being changing. And when you have an established business and things seem to be going smoothly, this is where it becomes the most difficult to take that jump, to take that leap, to burn that bridge. It becomes difficult because now when you've hit rock bottom, you've got nowhere to go but up. You're laying on your back, rock bottom, all you can see is up. But when you're climbing a mountain and you're like, wow, look how high up it is that I am. And you're like, oh, let me just stay here. You know, this is nice here. This is good. You want to continue pushing yourself further, pushing yourself higher, because that's when you start to hit the plateau. That's where you start to get in dangerous territory. And this doesn't just apply for your business, it applies for your life as well. If you're not constantly improving yourself, growing yourself, that's how depression happens. And the medical world, their answer to that is to medicate that. I don't believe in that whatsoever. There's a larger problem there. And yes, it may be due to a chemical imbalance, but it's your body that's causing that chemical imbalance. If this is something that's happened over time, what has changed over time that's caused you to feel this way, to feel differently? And you know, it's okay when you're making these decisions, when you're making these leaps, when you're making these jumps, to maybe feel a little anxious about them. But what makes you feel anxious about them is staring at the abyss. If you don't look down, who knows what's down there? Who knows how far away the bottom is? We're looking across. That's how you remain cool, calm, and collected. But if you focus on what it is that you have to lose, that's where, you know, things start to shake up. You start to wait. And again, if you wait, opportunities will pass you by. If you're waiting, that's where your business is doing this, and that's where you become vulnerable for attacks. Attacks from the market, attacks from competition, attacks from changes in technology, any of these things that could cause your business to change. Going back to the story about the market crash in the mid-2000s. When that happened, it wasn't that all real estate agents got wiped out. No, a lot of agents, I know a lot of agents that stayed in the business. The Tampa School of Real Estate was founded in 2007, right out of the biggest market crash. And, you know, a great time to open a real estate school when no one wants to be in real estate. But we did it. We were able to grow it into what it is today. And there's tons of agents that remained in the industry, tons of agents, tons of brokers that remained in the industry and were able to even be prosperous during this time of downturn and despair. Because it's not a matter, now look, when we talk about these market cycles here, it's not that everyone stopped buying real estate and now there was no money to be made. Certain people stopped buying real estate. The people who were buying second and third homes without any money to buy these second and third homes, that shouldn't have gotten the loans in the first place, yeah, those buyers were gone. Because then they couldn't get the loans. They maybe lost their job and they couldn't even afford the loan on their primary residence. Those buyers were gone. But if you rely on that, and if you're not constantly growing your business, you're going to become vulnerable when you hit that plateau and then boom, all of a sudden that drops off. Now that was a major shift in the market, but that's a great example because again, there were agents, there were brokers that maintained and stayed through the market and actually were prosperous through this economic downturn. And the reason why is they shifted their focus. They adapted to the changes in the market. They adapted to selling overpriced homes to short sales, to foreclosures. And they were able to adapt to that because they were constantly growing their business and they knew about short sales. And they maybe saw this coming to a certain extent. Or maybe they've worked with short sales before and they had the knowledge and training on this. And this may seem like something that you do not need to learn about when the economy is booming, when real estate is booming, when everything is on the up and up. Why learn about selling distressed homes when there aren't distressed homes out there? And it's just another way of growing yourself and training yourself. You should be constantly learning new things. We're going to talk more about how to make these decisions, to take these leaps, to make sure it is that you're constantly growing and improving yourself. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm John Christma. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrisma, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind, to grow your real estate business, to talk about topics that are going to make you more money. And really today we're focusing on this mindset of being able to take these jumps, to take these leaps of faith, to make these decisions. Whether that may be a small decision, such as what we talked about in that first segment, just picking up the phone, making a call, or what it is that you're going to wear in the morning. Being able to make decisions like that, where you're just rattling them off, you start to gain confidence. And now when you make a bad decision, that'll chip away at your confidence a little bit. But if you've built it up by making decisions and you're like, oh, wow, that was a good decision. Wow, that was a good decision. Wow, that was a good decision. When you do make a bad decision, you got to have enough good decisions to outweigh the bad. And the only way that's going to happen is making more decisions. If you don't ever make any decisions, if you don't ever take any risk, then when you do take a risk and it turns out bad, you've got nothing to buffer you, nothing to be there to be your safety net. And you open yourself up to that possibility by not making decisions, by not taking actions. So let's talk a little bit more about some particular things that is in real estate maybe that are a little bit risky, that might require you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. This could be taking a class. Maybe you're taking some sort of training, or you're interested in taking some sort of training. And this training costs money. There's tons of sales trainers and real estate trainers and real estate coaches and gurus and all kinds of things like that out there. And maybe you're looking at this and you're focusing on that risk of the $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 or however much it is that you're paying for this training class or whatever it may be. And if you go into a training class like that focused on the money it is that you spent for it, you're not going to get anything out of the class that's going to be of value because you're constantly trying to say, oh, this is where all that money's going. Oh, I bet that guy's paid so much money because of this. That's the wrong way to be thinking about that. And this even goes down, let's say it's not $1,000 you're spending. Let's say it's $10, $20 that you're spending on a book. Maybe $30 if it's like some sort of hardcover book or something. And this is some sort of book that's going to help you increase your business, to change your mindset, to make you better at making decisions, to make you more knowledgeable on changing technologies and different sales skills and whatever that may be. Look, I'm a big advocate of books as well as audiobooks. I have an Audible membership. As soon as Audible will give us a sponsorship deal, we'll put a link on here for you guys so we can go sign up for Audible. But look, I highly recommend it. Constantly, whenever I'm driving in the car, I'm listening to some sort of audiobook in a range of topics. It's pretty much always nonfiction. I can't get into fiction audiobooks, but I do like reading an actual fiction book every now and then. Don't really do that much. But the audiobooks, I'm constantly bringing those in. And being in real estate, being involved with the school, as much as it is that I drive and as bad as traffic gets in Tampa, I spend a lot of time in my car. And I've been doing this for years. And I look back and I look at my library on Audible of all of the books it is that I've gone through. And some of them I've gone through 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Reviewing them over and over. The good ones that are really juicy, that have a lot of information in there, a lot of little tidbits that are able to help me grow myself and grow my businesses. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for $30 of value in the book. I'm looking for $1 million of value. I'm looking for that one thing that if I implement, that is going to make me $1 million. It's going to make me $10 million. It's going to make me $100 million. That's what you need to pay attention to. Not focusing on, oh, well, this is really thick paper in this book here. That must be why this costs $30. Now, look, the price of that book, of that training, of whatever it is that you're spending money on is irrelevant. You need to focus on what the reward is and what that reward can actually gain you. What it is that maybe you're investing in some sort of marketing. So rather than training, let's say that you're planning to invest in some sort of marketing. Maybe you're buying signs or buying business cards, or you're buying some sort of calling list so that you can call these people. If you focus on the money it's going to cost you to purchase this marketing, to purchase whatever it may be, then you're not focused on the right thing. You're staring into the abyss rather than looking ahead and looking forward. You need to concentrate on, okay, if I get this, what does that horizon look like? What's on the other side of this abyss? And that's what you make a decision based on. You don't make the decision based on what could happen if this goes wrong, or what would I rather spend my money on, or what would that money what could I do with this money, or why should I give up the money? What you want to think about is what you can gain by making this investment. And that investment in anything, whether you're investing in training, whether you're investing in marketing, or maybe you're investing in real estate as well. Whatever that may be, it's not thinking about the cost. That cost becomes irrelevant. Let's talk about investing in real estate, because this is a good example of this. Let's say that you're planning on purchasing a property, and you're focused on the cost of that property. That cost becomes irrelevant because it's not based on the cost, it's based on the income the property is generating minus the expenses, including your mortgage payment on that property, including that debt service. And if you're able, even if it's only $50, maybe it's $20, but if you're $20 in the green, and you know that there's a lot of schools of thought, we'll get into a discussion on another episode about investing in real estate, but even that small win there, if you're able even to get $20 worth out of that, yeah, you might have some headaches. Yeah, you might have some bad decisions that you made with this. But the point is that you're taking action, that you're making a decision, and that you're moving towards the direction is that you want to go. Maybe ultimately at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you don't want to just have one property that turns a $20 profit every month. But that one property that turns that $20 profit can lead you into another property that turns a $50 profit, to a $500 profit, to a $1,000 profit, to a $10,000 profit a month. And that's how you're able to continually grow yourself. Now, if you've plateaued, if you're like, oh wow, $20, oh that's great, I'm set for life now. Again, it sounds ridiculous, but that's the mindset of the plateau. That's the mindset of the plateau, which again, you want to avoid like the plague. That plateau, that stagnation, where you're just sitting at this level and you're just resting on your laurels? Oh, $20. Wow, look at that. I could call myself a real estate investor. I could put $20 in my pocket every month. That might be great for that first property is that you get to, but that shouldn't be what you want the rest of your life to be, especially if you're looking to be a serious real estate investor. And it seems obvious because you'll say, John, of course I don't want to just make $20, but that's that first step it is that you take. And you continue moving in that direction. You continue taking action. You continue growing and transitioning into bigger and better things. But you're not able to become an investor in a $1 million property without first investing in something smaller, where you're able to ramp up with that. A lot of people, so we deal with this a lot at the school. We have a lot of people that are looking to get into real estate, and their main end goal is to be an investor. They're not looking to practice real estate. They just want to be a real estate investor, and that's their goal. And that's great, but you need something to move you into that space to invest on. Now, let's say that's a $100,000 property that's turning that $20 profit. Yeah, big deal. But 20%, just a 20% down on that $100,000 property is $20,000. $20,000. And let's do the math real quick on this. It should be what, like 2,000 months? $20,000 divided by, what did I say, $20 a month? Let's say $20 a month. Let's say you're getting $20 a month. That's 1,000 months for you to recoup that down payment that you have in that property. So to get that $20,000 back, if you're only turning a $20 profit, if we divide this out by, what do we got, 12 months in a year? 83 years. So this might be a good place for you to start, but it's going to take you pretty much your lifetime. I think 83 is maybe about what the average lifespan is of a person. So the point being here isn't about the money. It's not about the numbers. It's about the overall transition. So that investment of a $100,000 property with a $20,000 investment, that might seem nice at first, but look, even coming up with $20,000 to put as a down payment in a single family home that's just a $100,000 property, that may seem like a lot. And if you really want to do some damage and you really want to be turning some big profits and having some big income coming from rental property, you need to have larger investments and more properties and multifamily housing and commercial real estate, or all these different avenues that can produce higher returns than just $20 a month. It's a good first action, but you need to know that that's not where you want to plateau. You need to continue taking more actions. And going back to what I was talking about earlier, you've got positive cash flow on this property. It becomes difficult to just throw that away. Now, if it's only $20 a month, and especially if it's causing you a lot of headaches, it's not so difficult to throw that away. But let's say it's not $20 a month. Let's say that's $2,000 a month. Let's say you've got $2,000 a month coming in off of rental property income, and you have an opportunity that comes across you to potentially generate $10,000 a month. But more money involves more risk. So to go into that larger investment to potentially get that $10,000 a month, you'd have to get rid of that $2,000 a month. You'd have to move away from that and push yourself towards that. And looking back on what it is that you've accomplished and what it is that you have, trying to protect what it is that you have, that prevents you from looking forward, from looking towards where it is that you could actually go and what it is that you could actually do. So you don't want to just look back and focus on what it is that you've done and what it is that you have. That's the plateau. That's the complacency. And when that occurs, it's not only your business that suffers, it's your life that suffers. You start to feel burnt out. Maybe 5 years ago, you loved what it is that you're doing, but still doing the same thing 5 years later, and you're like, I just can't do this anymore. You're not working anymore. You're actually probably working even less because you're able to do stuff easier. But not only is that going to burn out your business, that burns out you. And in real estate especially, where when you're starting out and you're just a one-man show, if you continue doing the same thing year after year after year after year, it's going to get old. It's going to get to the point where you're like, got to show another house. It's only a $10,000 commission. All right, let's get this over with. Let's get this so I could go pay my mortgage payment, I guess. If you're not constantly growing and pushing yourself further, That's going to happen to you. And when you're getting $10,000 checks, let's say you're making $100,000 a year, you could still become burnt out. Maybe you're making $200,000 a year. You could still be burnt out. You could be making $1 million a year and still be burnt out. Again, there's always more. There's always ways to push yourself. Look at Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, one of the richest people in the world, runs one of the largest companies in the world, but he's constantly making it better. He's even got a branch off with what is it? Blue something, the company to send rockets into space. Why is he sending rockets into space? Because he can, because he could do it. He's making all this money with Amazon and with his other investments, but he doesn't want to just stop there. Because it's not even, and you'll ask people that are millionaires and billionaires, it becomes a point where it's not even about the money. It's about growing yourself. And even at what point it is that you are now, it doesn't matter where you are financially, where it is that you are in your life, there's always that growth. And the growth is ultimately more important than the money. And you might say, hey, John, I can't pay my bills with growth. You can't today, but tomorrow, next week, next month, a year from now, that growth will make you a better person. It'll make you a better business person. It'll make you able to make smarter decisions, to make decisions faster. So that growth does pay off. It takes time for it to pay off. You have to have perseverance. You need to continue to push yourself forward, but that growth will pay off. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrisman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you're looking to start or enhance your real estate career, make sure you give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. You'll see that constantly flashing across the bottom of the screen there. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions it is that you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Also check out our Success Center. It's tampaschool.com/success. This is where we help you plan for your success in the real estate industry. You'll find all the previous episodes of State of Real Estate as well as all the episodes of Ask the Instructor, as well as articles, calculators, all kinds of tools in there to help you take your business to the next level. We're all about growth at the Tampa School of Real Estate. I'm all about growth because if you're not growing, if you're not improving yourself, not only is it a detriment to your health and to your mental state, but it's also a detriment to your business. And you don't want your business to suffer because you're afraid of taking a jump, you're afraid of taking a leap, you're afraid of doing something new. And let's say you're transitioning into maybe thinking about starting a real estate career. And let's say that you're thinking about, okay, should I do this? Should I walk away from this job that I've done all the years? that I kind of like, but I'm kind of sick of it. I'm kind of bored with it. But, it's good, stable income. It's not a whole lot of money, but, it's decent. I would like more, because you're always going to want more. Doesn't matter how much it is that you're making, how much it is that you have. You'll always want more. And you might be staring down this decision. And if you keep looking back at what it is that you're walking away from, you're not able to focus on what it is that you'd be going to, what it is that's possible, how things could change. So now let's tie in this last little bit, because we have a few more minutes left on today's show, of how do we motivate ourselves? How do we get ourselves attuned to where it is that we want to be? How do we get that courage and that strength to make the decision? I could sit here all day and tell you guys and lecture you all about making decisions, how making decisions will make you confident and make you better. And that's true. But when you're facing a major decision, a life-changing decision, you've got to pay attention to what's possible. And understand if what's possible is worth making that decision, is worth taking that jump, is worth making that leap of faith. And if you see the possibility and you're going to commit to that possibility, because again, going back to the decision, meaning you're cutting yourself away from everything else. Once you've made that decision, the only way you're going to see a return on your investment in that decision it is that you've made is if you stay perseverant. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get some bruises. You're going to get some scars. Maybe not literally, but figuratively. There'll be some ups and downs. It won't always be great. It always won't be perfect. But with enough commitment and enough dedication and enough perseverance, you truly can make anything possible. But you have to keep your eye on the prize. You have to stay focused on that horizon. You have to stay focused on what's in front of you, what's ahead. And the earth is round, so they say. You can't always see. They say go to the water's edge and watch the ships dip below the water, basically, because they're going across the horizon. That's true in your life plan as well. When you're looking ahead, you can only see so far ahead. And as you move further, you'll see further ahead, but you always don't have true foresight. You can't always predict what's happening. You can't predict always what the person on the other end of the phone is going to say. You can't always predict anything. There's always that risk, and it's not about avoiding risk, because if it's just avoiding risk, you'll never make any progress, you'll never have any growth, you'll never get to those next levels and ultimately become better. And again, I understand, I know it's difficult to make these decisions, especially when it's a decision when you're walking away from something that's good, that's been great to you, and it works, for the possibility of something more, for the possibility of something better. But without making that decision, choosing to stay where it is that you are now, you're choosing to have the plateau. And having that plateau opens you up for vulnerability. And that plateau could fall out from underneath you. You don't want that to happen. You don't want a sinkhole to open up under your business. You don't want a sinkhole to open up under your life and just everything goes down. So you never want to be plateauing. You never want to become complacent. I've been complacent before. I won't lie to you. I've had moments in my life where I was just coasting along. Not today. Not in my current state. Not in my current life. Because I understand the opportunity that lies on the other side of a decision. And I know that the only way to seek that opportunity, to grasp that opportunity, to rein in that opportunity, is to make that decision, to take that jump, to take that leap of faith. Now, you see this all the time in the movies, where some action movie or something where somebody's making a jump and they say, okay, you could do this, you could do it, and they start to make the jump and then they pull back. And what always happens when they pull back? They start dangling for their life. They're maybe jumping off of one building and it looks like they could make the jump, but then they pull back halfway through and they end up just kind of like tripping over the side, and then they're hanging on for dear life. That's what happens when you do not commit to your decisions. That's what happens when you do not go 100% and stay perseverant and stay pushing forward. Now, they become perseverant there and they climb back up and everything always works out in the movies. But not committing, because again, you make that decision, you cut yourself away from all other options. So if you're going to make that jump, you need to give that jump 100%. Lose all of your inhibitions and just push yourself. Once you've decided to make that jump, to take that jump, you have to go for it. You have to push yourself regardless of what reasons may be holding you back. The risk is always going to be there. It's not about avoiding risk. It's about managing risk. It's about saying, okay, the risk is this. If I get over that opportunity is greater than the risk. And you don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Notice I didn't spend a whole lot of time today talking about weighing pros and cons, because we all know how to weigh pros and cons. We all know how to say, well, this is good, but this is the bad. Our minds are wired like that. That's how we evolved and became who we are as people, by weighing pros and cons. And that's what gave us our consciousness. That's the root of our consciousness of making decisions. And we're able to do that by weighing these pros and cons of, okay, yeah, there's risk here. Maybe we could avoid that risk. But when there's opportunity that lies on the other end, yeah, there's a risk. Yeah, there's a chance that you might lose something. Yeah, there's a chance that you might get a little beat up along the way. But you never will know until you try. And when you do commit to that decision, when you've made that decision, you've cut yourself away from everything. And you're making that jump. You're taking that leap of faith. And you're not going to half jump it. You're not going to kind of go, and then say, oh, no, I'm not going to do this instead, because that's only going to leave you more damaged with no reward as a result. So when you do make this decision, you need to commit 100% to that decision. Stay perseverant. Stay pushing yourself forward and continue to grow. Because again, you don't want to fall victim to the plateau. You don't want to fall victim to the complacency. You don't want to become comfortable and rest on your laurels. You need to constantly be making yourself uncomfortable, because that's how you grow yourself. So I've got for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I hope it's had an impact in you, and it's going to have an impact in your business and have an impact in your life if you take these words and you understand this concept of, once you're making a decision, don't make a decision if you're not going to commit to that decision. Commit to the decision. See it through. And then reap the rewards at the end. So I've got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Remember to check out the full episode at tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success. It's our success center where we help you plan for your success in the real estate industry. We love seeing our students succeed. That's why we've created this whole success center. That's why we do these live streams every Friday, as well as Wednesdays. We have Ask the Instructor on Wednesdays. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out the Success Center, and I'll see you guys next week for Ask the Instructor.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.